Hello, you're listening to Count Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi. Today is Saturday the 2nd of March and I'd like to start this video with a thank you to Patsy, who sent me a text asking me where was her Coudenhove Kalergi installment, and the other was from a friend of mine who rang up and inquired was everything okay, as he hadn't seen my video. So here we go. I hope it's as interesting to some as the others. And these are my comments since my last video. Denmark will no longer automatically grant all Syrian asylum seekers temporary asylum and is considering if returns are possible. Director of the Danish Immigration Service said, "It is our assessment that the conditions in Syria has made changes, especially around the Damascus area. I'm reminded of the pictures of Syrians celebrating Christmas, while in Germany, Christmas market were surrounded by metal fences and concrete blocks." The Danish Prime Minister Lars Rasmussen, at a recent meeting with the President of Somalia in Egypt, said he thought it would be beneficial if the Somalis returned to their country of origin to help rebuild it. "We have an increasingly good cooperation that is also makes it possible to force people back to Somalia if necessary. The truth is, we give shelter to people as long as they need it." In Belgium, an appeals court has sided with the Belgian government on Wednesday that the country does not have to repatriate two women from Syria who joined Islamic State. The two women, who each have 3 children fathered by ISIS members, fall all under the age of 6. The Justice Minister, Cohen Geen, said children can never be blamed for the actions of their parents. This then creates a dilemma that would the returned children then have the right to family reunification? It would only be a matter of time before the activist starts campaigning. The ISIS concubine in Britain's father, a 60-year-old Ahmed Ali, has said that the British government was right to strip her of her British citizenship, saying that was her own fault that she is stuck in Syria. Traced down to a Bangladeshi city where he has a second wife and divides his time between the UK and Bangladesh. The UK are now also facing the headache of an influx of returning ISIS fighters, wives and their children. In the past week alone, at least 12 women with UK citizenship have shown up at the refugee camps in northern Syria. Contrary to assertions that the young girls who left the UK were victims and were groomed, as Breach Smith suggested the other night, and failed by British society, a newly published analysis of 20 cases of ISIS brides and young girls on a case-by-case study by the foreign policy think tank the Henry Jackson Society has found that the ISIS brides had self-radicalised and, compared to their male jihadis, had been even more active in seeking out extremist material. How about that one now? As a footnote of this, a mass grave has been discovered in the recently captured area of Baghouz. The grave contained the bodies of dozens of people held captive and are believed to be Yazidis and were all beheaded. Back in the UK, the University of Central Lancashire has suspended a student aged 19 who was critical of Islamisation, halal slaughter and the treatment of women under Sharia courts. In a class discussion, quote, "These are the views held by many people in public and I believe I should be able to express them freely. I always thought that the purpose of an education was to open a person's mind to be capable of critical thought, rather than close it because you don't like a particular point of view. I'm reminded of a quote from Christopher Hitchens: 'The essence of the independent mind lies in not what it thinks, but in how it thinks.'" Sweden, that canary in the coal mine. UPS, one of the world's largest courier companies, has stopped delivering to the heavily migrant-populated area of Rosengård in Malmö, claiming that the area has become too dangerous due to attacks and assaults on their staff. The company has not made any deliveries to this area for the last 2 months, with people having to collect parcels from a central station. Stockholm has also seen a halt in deliveries to some areas. According to the Swedish Security Service, around 150 out of a total of 300 ISIS fighters have returned to Sweden, with some setting up basement mosques, and have begun to recruit new extremists. The Swedish National Defence College claims that up to 20 ISIS fighters live in Malmö alone, with many of them of young recruits seeing them as heroes. And in the town of Gävle, a 2-hour drive north of Stockholm, a city of 100,000 people, a large poster on a digital advertising board of a Muslim woman wearing a hijab with the message "Welcome to Gävle" has been destroyed in less than 1 week by angry residents who have expressed outrage and felt deeply insulted by the choice of Muslim to represent their city. The damage included 3 bullet holes, more examples of the Swedes suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. An emphasis on domestic issues. In the wake of the Sunday Times article about the failed asylum seeker and Social Democrat candidate and spoofer from Malawi, 3 members of the Social Democrats have resigned in disagreements over plans to launch an internal review into the background of their candidate. They also edited their profile of her having been in direct provision for a number of years. In a letter to last Sunday Times, the head of the Immigrant Council of Ireland, Brian Killorn, along with 3 unnamed others, complained about Mark Toy's article, saying that we were disappointed at your decision to publish an article questioning the viability of an ongoing international protection case. They went on to further state, people from migrant backgrounds are grossly underrepresented in our political system. We are working to empower migrants community leaders to register, vote and run in local elections. Social Democrat councillor Gary Gannon on The Tonight Show defended her, saying that she was one of the most courageous people he had ever met and made an extraordinary contribution to our city and will make an excellent representative. Well, Gary, who do you think she is going to represent, her local community or those in direct provision? And maybe being a spoofer is being a requirement to be a Social Democrat. The Social Democrats have also asked her to stop canvassing pending their review, but the twice failed asylum seeker in the UK, twice deported back to Ireland, and twice arrested and detained in the Croydon Asylum Unit, and now barred from entering the UK, was still canvassing in Smithfield last weekend. How did she manage to sneak out from direct provision in Ireland to the UK? Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil are now starting to promote their own migrant candidates, with one from Balbriggan who was complaining that there was not enough for the 12 to 17-year-old in the area to do. Would this be the same age group that have caused so much trouble in that area that 1,000 members of the local community held a vigil outside Balbriggan Garda Station in November 2017 and have been using the dart to travel to other northside areas and cause trouble, including at Halloween last year, threatening to a pregnant woman with having her baby cut out of her and chopped up in front of her after she intervened in a schoolboy being attacked. Those who want diversity usually never have to live next door to it. Just a bit like down in Rooski. And an objection was granted, and a decision will be given at the end of June. A reprieve for a few months. Let's hope they are successful, and let that be a reminder to communities to never give up, even in the face of government pressure. With the continued success of Gemma Authority's live streams, a call to arms was put out by one of the Rooski protesters, Iggy Kamikaze, to harass Gemma on her next live stream. With such childish behaviour, her stream was bombarded with symbols of unicorns. I must have blocked about 15 myself. With the rise of alternative media and excellent live streams from the Celtique, the Don, Gran Torino and other people, the battle for the hearts of minds is just beginning, and we are the pioneers in the new age of enlightenment. I would also say how disgusted I was with the tampering of the grave there and the taking of the head of the 800-year-old crusader. Like, who on earth would want to do something like that? What kind of mind and mentality are you dealing with that is capable of such appalling behaviour? And I hope the ghost of that crusader comes back to haunt him. But there are a couple of thoughts which are my own. I noticed I have a couple of subscribers this week. Thanks very much for subscribing, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night and good luck.